I'm on here to document this extended trip outside the US slash relocation, plotting, plan, whatever you want to call it. We are on an extended trip outside of the US with the plans of moving out of the US. We are currently in the continent of Africa and the country of Kenya. We are here for 3 months. Like the max that we could get, we decided to get our visas for and come for. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 90 days was the max for a visiting visa. So we got the max that we could get. I'm here to make this video so that I can document for other people who might be in the same mindset, but also just for myself, for my family, for anybody who's wondering, like, why are you doing that? A lot of things that we do, that I do, people are like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are you leaving for so long? This video is going to touch on these key reasons why we decided to leave, why we're going to be going for so long, and why this may be permanent. Very well, may be permanent. So basically, I'm going to be going over some of the reasons why we did it, and the what we're looking to accomplish with this experience. So, for starters, one of the big things for us, like it's our family. So here is my husband, myself, and our daughter, who's not even 2 years old yet. We came by ourselves. I don't know how many miles away from our hometown, from our home country, to visit East Africa and a few different countries around here to basically see what other people were talking about and to see if we can be able to experience a better quality of life. That's one of the main reasons why we decided to make this move, is because we are and always are looking for a better quality of life. Our experience in the US, especially as black people, like if you're black and you're watching this video, you know, if you've been able to come to the conclusion or been able to accept the fact that we have never been that welcomed in the US. Like we've never had the experience or the opportunity to thrive as much as we should. There's certain things that hold us back, that don't hold other groups of people back, that we should have as basic human rights. So, and it's not all about that. It's so many different things with the quality of life that we weren't experiencing in the US, that a lot of people, it wasn't just us, we looked around at a lot of people, and people that we looked at, whether it be family, friends, other people that we knew, other people that we spent time around, it seems that we had accomplished some of the most things, or we had accomplished things. Like people were always praising us, like, oh, you're doing so good, you got this going, you're doing this business, been able to do this at such a young age, whatever. We've been able to accomplish a lot of things, but for some reason it's still something there in the US that it's like a hurdle that we can't get over. And I know it's a lot of things that you might not even be able to explain. Like for one of the reasons we were interested in coming over here is the videos that we saw, and people were talking about obviously being black and experiencing the continent of Africa, various countries, and experiencing something that they couldn't even explain, like a weight off of their shoulders. Um, and a different feeling of the air, a different way to the sunshine. People were less stressed. People were experiencing life in a different way that we were. Now, it's not to say that there's not problems wherever you go, but there's just different kind of problems, and people were solving a lot of the problems that we were commonly facing, like over there in the US. So, quality of life, that's one of the biggest things. We're always searching for a better quality of life. And if you've seen any other videos on my channel, you've seen that I'm talking about things to improve life, whether that be health, whether that be state of mind, whether that be, just improving things in your own independent aspect of your own life to get to just a higher quality of living. Like there's no point of living a mediocre life. There's no point in just doing the same thing that every single person that you know have done and haven't achieved a high quality of success, happiness, abundance, all of those things. So that's one of the biggest things. So in the US, it just seemed like it was like a trap. It seems like you work so hard no matter what you're doing. Like our what we do is business. We do business. So at this point in time, we don't work a 9 to 5 the job. We don't work a 9 to 5 job. We do business. With business, it just seems like the benchmark kept changing just with simple things. Like we live a pretty, I don't know if I would call it minimal, but I'm a budgeter. Like I'm a saver. And so I don't spend a lot of money other than on things that I'm really like to do, like traveling. But still, even there, we don't spend a whole bunch of money, but we look to things that we actually enjoy, and those are the things that we spend money on. So what I'm saying is, like in business, even when we were working jobs, other people that we see people working 2 and 3 jobs, and they're not doing anything spectacular with the money. Like all they're doing is just affording groceries, affording rent, affording gas and electric, just basic things. It seems like we're working so hard, and for us in particular, we have a certain lifestyle where we eat healthier. Like we choose certain high quality foods, and those in the US it come with a hefty price tag. And the thing that's a catch is, for one example, we choose to eat organic foods, and there's different things that you can read where you might be able to see that sometimes food that you think is organic is not even organic, whether that be like cross contamination, like pesticides that were sprayed on a food in the adjoining field, that like the wind blew it over to the food that you're paying 5 times more money for. Or people, corruption, where people are um, advertising these products as organic, and they're going through this system where they're trying to make it seem like they came from this source, but it actually came from this source. So long story short, we're paying top dollar for what we think is organic food. Now we still get it because we're like, okay, at least this increases our chances of actually getting organic food. Because if we don't, if we get the cheap food, if we get the cheap, strawberries or blueberries, or cheaper, because, not a lot of groceries are actually cheap, but the cheaper option, we know that we're going to get a bunch of pesticides. Here we have already experienced the quality of food that you can get is a lot better for a lot less. And that's encouraging, because it's like, why do I gotta spend top dollar to stay alive? Like, why am I spending $50 for some produce or something like that that's only gonna last me like 1 or 2 days? It doesn't really make sense. So it's just those things. And like I said, I talk about some of those things on the channel, and it can be a struggle sometimes where you're like, man, am I really about to, like, I'm spending $300 on a couple bags of groceries because I'm trying to live and eat better. And it feels like, in a way, you're being punished. Like, you got to spend more because you want to eat better, so you got to spend more. But you can get the toxic landfill snacks over there for, a buck. It's like, what should I do? You know what I'm saying? So it just seems like everything keeps getting higher and higher, and the quality of things are not getting higher. It's just that everything is getting higher, whether that be the cost of living, and that's if you rent or if you own a home. Groceries, gas, everything is just getting higher and higher. And then you can see that stress on your own selves, your family, and other people that friends or whatever. It just seems like a very stressful environment. And we've talked to people, like we did extensive research before we came here and before we decided to come to this particular country, and then the other countries that we're going to be visiting in this area. um, we did extensive research, and talking to people, we've been able to meet people who actually lived here, like in the continent of Africa, in the country of Kenya, who actually, they're from here, but they live like in the city, in our city that we're from. We got a chance to talk to them, and they tell us about how, they're a lot more stressed, they're a lot more depressed since being here. It's not much culture, and it's not much community, not like it is here, like where we are in Africa, specifically Kenya. They talk about that. Like, so we talk to people who have moved from the US, who have moved here, and we talk to people who have moved from here, the country of Kenya, and the continent of Africa, who live now in the US. they experience a decreased quality of life. People who move here seem to experience an increased quality of life. So, one of the main reasons why we're here for so long is, for one, we need a big break. And for two, we're looking to actually move here. And with the plane ride, it was about 14 hours from the U.S. So it was a pretty long plane ride. It wasn't the worst. It actually wasn't that bad to me, but it was pretty long. So we wanted to stay here for an extended period of time so we can get a break from all of that we were dealing with in the US, and so that we can see exactly where we want to move and get a better idea. So if we were going to be here for like a week, it wouldn't be enough time for us to say, hey, this is where we want to move. So we wanted to stay here for a long period of time. So, like I said, quality of life is so many different things that encompass that. One of the biggest things that we face as Black people is racism in America. Whether you're somebody that want to admit it or not, most likely, most likely, if you're Black, you have experienced some form of racism, prejudice, bigotry, whatever you want to call it. There is something that weighs on us just as being Black people in America that doesn't affect other people. And I did a research project on this several years ago when I was going to college, and it's actually studies, and it was this Black psychologist that she actually did studies and said that as Black people we can actually experience PTSD. And with PTSD, a lot of people, most people, contribute that to like being in the army or being in the military, but this is actually something that as Black people we can experience from what she considered, or what is considered as microaggression. So that comes from small things, like from you getting on the elevator, and then it's a white person that's on the elevator, and then they like grab their purse, or they, look at you funny, or someone is following you around the store because they think that you're stealing because you're Black. Just small things that like happen to us on a daily life, and we've been dealing with it for so long that we just kind of like brush it off. Or just like, whatever. It still affects us at a certain level, as it would any human being, but it affects us at these tiny levels that we don't even realize. So that's what she talked about in what is considered microaggressions, like where you're experiencing these small little like microaggressions, so these little instances of aggression, even though it's what we consider passive aggressive. So it's not anybody specifically attacking you, even though it can be in some instances. But these small things that just add up, and it literally weigh on your self-conscious, it weighs on your spiritual being, into where you feel like you can't even breathe sometimes. Like you feel like you can't, it's hard for you to go to work, it's hard for you to go to school because you're surrounded by people that don't look like you. You're surrounded by people, or you're being taught by people who might not want you to succeed. You're working with coworkers who don't want you to work there. It's just so many different things. And we don't have a fair chance to experience the rights or the way that we should experience certain things, like experience like a good quality, working at a good quality place in a good quality work environment can be affected just by being Black, because we're not treated the same, we're not paid the same, we're not, it's all kinds of things. And the crazy thing is some people in the world who don't experience this. And that's when it clicked for me. I'm like, why would we stay here if we're experiencing things and we're not being able to experience things that should come with basically being a human? Basic human rights that we're not getting, that we've been fighting for years, that has been, how everybody knows about the civil rights movement. Everybody knows about this stuff that's been happening for so long that there hasn't been much change. Like you can look at it and be like, oh yeah, well now we can go to school. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Those small things, who cares that we can go to school together? Who cares that we can work at the same place? We can sit at the same restaurant table. It doesn't matter if these things are still affecting us at a level that's greater than we can even understand, but that affects us on a day-to-day basis. So that's one of the biggest things. Another thing is violence in the US. I remember like a couple of years back when we were looking to move just to a different state inside of the US, because the place that we live in, it's a little bit of a struggle place. Like the violence is out of control. Where we're from, we made several headlines in TV shows, crime shows, all kinds of things. And in the U.S., a lot of the states and cities are not so different. So a few years back, I was looking at peaceful places to move in the US, and I had got a result back that said the US is not a peaceful place as a whole. And I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to, just see a list of a couple places that, where you can live a peaceful life. You don't have to worry about, getting you don't have to worry about getting assaulted. You don't have to worry about just things that you shouldn't have to worry about. Like if you're not putting violence out in the world, I feel like you shouldn't have to worry about being on the receiving end of a violent altercation or a violent um, anything. Like you shouldn't have to worry about getting robbed. Shouldn't have to worry about your car getting stolen, your house getting broken into. And like I said, those things happen in other countries too. But there's a certain level of it that is out of control in the U.S. And it's like when things happen that seem to get worse and worse, it seems like it's not being taken control of. Like it seems like it's not getting better. Like if you are from a city or if you're from a state where things were like really bad, but they kind of got under control, like let me know. Let me know, in the comments, where are you from? And what, I'm still leaving. I'm still leaving, but I just want to know because from what I have known, have learned, and the people that I've spoken to, it's the same everywhere. It's just like things are continuously getting worse. Things are not getting better. And it's like, come on now, it's so many school shootings. I remember seeing a video where somebody said it was at a certain time period, like a few months ago, but there was more school shootings, they said, and I hadn't verified this, but there were more school shootings than days in a year at a certain point in time, like in the U.S. Like, so school shootings, people are getting shot at church, at in the grocery store. It's just like you can't go anywhere and like be safe. And don't get me wrong, I myself, I believe in the law of attraction. So even in the place where we live at, I don't go out and I'm not fearful or like looking around like, oh my gosh, is it gonna happen today? Is it gonna happen today? I just live my life. But what I do know is that I am surrounded by an environment where these activities are happening on a consistent basis, and it really shouldn't be. It should be at least improving, but it's not. It doesn't seem to be improving. It seems to just be getting worse. Like that, as well as the economy. Like people have heard about BRICS. People have heard about the U.S. dollar going down, losing value. Like we said, things keep going up and up. The prices keep going higher. It's getting to a point where it's kind of like, can you afford basic necessities to live? Can you afford basic necessities to live? Can you afford groceries? Can you afford rent? Can you afford? And then the places that we live in, most times are not even, the top notch places. Like everybody's not living in a sunny city where there's like so much stuff to do, and there's and even with that, like if it's still violence, it's like, what quality of life are you really living? So that was one big thing. And then the violence can also be tied in to that same thing that I spoke about, racism, because there's a lot of racially targeted violence that happens against us as black people, whether that be other groups of people trying to take us out, whether it be, in law enforcement, people who are supposed to protect us that are taking us out. It's all kinds of things. As well as food quality, I already spoke about, and also just like I said, working hard and not getting much at all. Those are some of the reasons that we decided to take this extended trip slash relocation plot or plan. I haven't figured out what exactly this is called, but basically we're gonna be relocating. We're trying to figure out where that is. So that's what we're doing here. So yeah, I'm gonna be documenting more of the experience of being here, but so far it's definitely um, an experience that I think more people should do. Um, if you can, if you have the resources to do it, even if you can't come, like we're here for 90 days, but you can't come from 90 days. I mean, can you come for a week? Can you come for 2 weeks? Because what we've experienced so far has thankfully been everything that we have thought it would be. Like, it's not like I haven't heard one shot since I've been here, and that is for me where we come from, that's really rare. It's like something happening every single day. Like the news is going crazy. So in that aspect, we haven't had any altercations. We haven't felt unsafe. We felt very safe. We're in a pretty quiet area. People are very nice. People really care about children, which is one of the things that we heard that we've been able to confirm so far. And we've only been here for about a week. So I'm really excited about this journey. If this is something that resonates with you or anybody else you know, please like this video, share this video, and if you're someone who's looking to improve your quality of life, that's about everything that this channel is about. So please consider subscribing to the channel as well, because that's what I'm out here trying to do, is always looking to get to a high quality of life, never accepting just where you are, never accepting that, oh, this is just what we gotta do. I hate my job, I hate where I live, I hate this, but hey, this is just how it is because everybody I know did this and this is what I have to do. This is what this channel is about. So like I said, please like the video, share the video, subscribe, and also I'm going to be making more videos to document this experience. This is just the first video just talking about why we did it, and then I'm going to be coming on with more information on like how you can do this, and also documenting all the things that we've been doing since we've been here, because it's a lot to do, a lot more, especially than where a lot more to do than there is when we came from. Like way more stuff to do, and a lot of it is family friendly and all of that. But yeah, I'm gonna get into that in another video. This is just the first video, so I thank you for being here, especially if you made it to the end. I appreciate you for sure, and then I'm gonna see you in another video.